Mary does a vlog. Hi guys! So I am super excited right now because in about 1 hour I am going to be interviewing for my dream job at Disney World for the Disney College Program for Spring 2019, and I am so excited. I'm starting to get really nervous, but I'm just really excited. Okay, got my Mickey sweatshirt on. We're ready to go. Okay, so just a quick overview on how my application process has gone thus far. So today is Thursday, August 23rd, and this is actually, I think, the first or second day of phone interviews. So the applications came out this past Monday on August 20th, and I applied that day, like that evening, and a lot of people were getting just put in applied and not really moving forward, and some people were moving forward, so I had no idea what was going to happen. But to my surprise, around like 10 o'clock that night, I did get an invitation to do the web-based interview, and so I took that, and then of course it tells you right away if they want you to do the phone interview. So I did get asked, obviously, to do a phone interview, and so I am here now. So that was, depending on how you look at it, 3 days ago. I'm just really excited, really nervous, but there's just a lot on the line because this is the only time I can apply for this program. So I'm out of college and this is my last opportunity for this program. So wish me luck. It's gonna be fine. Totally gonna be great. It's gonna be great. I got this. It's gonna be totally fine. Yeah, it's gonna be fine. Totally fine. Hi, this is Mary Lottie. Hey, I am doing great. How are you, Andrea? Yes, absolutely. I am ready. Okay, that sounds awesome. Yeah, so I actually just graduated from the University of Arkansas, and oh, thank you so much. And my degree was in human resources. So yeah, absolutely. I graduated in May. Yes, ma'am. That is correct. Yeah, absolutely. I would, of course, be thrilled with either, but would love the opportunity to work at the Florida location. Yes, ma'am, I did. I did review it. Yeah, absolutely. I think that as far as hair and piercings, anything like that goes, I think that I am in alignment with it so far. I do not. I just have, my ears pierced in the normal lobe location, but no tattoos or anything else. Yes, ma'am, I do have a valid driver's license. Yes, ma'am. I actually, I have lived out on my own for a few years now, and have lived with, had a couple of different living situations because I did actually move states in the middle. But in my first living situation, I lived with 2 girls, and then in just this last year, I lived with 1 other roommate. Yeah, absolutely. So I remember one problem that I would run into a lot with the when I lived with the first 2 girls was that we would always disagree about like what temperature to have the thermostat set on, and so we would usually just try to compromise on a temperature that was good for everybody. And then the only other thing I can really think of would be just with people cleaning up after themselves and doing dishes and things like that. But typically, it was never a huge issue. I would just always try to, really communicate with my roommates, and even more than that though, is to just, have grace for them and know that they may have just had like a crazy week, and not just like, jump their case as soon as something happened, but, just making sure to really communicate with each other. And if something was really bothering one of us, just really, meeting face to face and talking about it, just so everything can be put out on the table and, cleared up. And, I never had any, crash and burn roommate type situations. So, and I'm still great friends with both of my former roommates. Okay, big question. So there's a couple of different reasons, kind of on a more professional sense. The reason I would love to work for Disney and do the Disney College program over any other program that I could apply for is just because of the example that Disney sets. Just as far as, they are so highly respected for giving an amazing experience every single time. And am going into an industry that would require me to, really let guests come in and relax and just kind of leave their worries at the door. And I feel like that is exactly what happens, or should happen, when people walk into a Disney park. So I would just love to learn from that example, to, take with me in my future career. And then on a more personal note, I realized that without a doubt I wanted to work for Disney at some point, hopefully in my life, a few years ago when I got to be a part of a Make-A-Wish Foundation event where they were actually going to send a little girl who had cancer, and of course they didn't know what was going to happen, and we actually got to announce to her that she was going to get to go to Disney World. And it was just like truly the most like precious and memorable thing that has probably ever happened in my life. And I think about it all the time, and just how much it meant to me, and I know how much it meant to that family. And so I just think it would be amazing to, even just a little piece of that every day working at Disney, and just giving that moment and that just special memory to everyone who comes to Disney. So being a part of the Disney College program, I feel like would give me the opportunity to do that, but also to really learn some amazing skills to take with me in my future career. And so that is why I want to be a part of this program over any other. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, absolutely. So whenever I worked for the Northwest Arkansas Children's Parties, that was a really, really fun experience. I was with them, of course it was kind of a weekend type of thing, so I was with them for about 2 years, and that was just such an awesome experience to get to really interact with kids and to lead them in games. And we would do like face painting and little mini manicures, and songs and all kinds of really fun things. And so I absolutely adored that job. Actually, the only reason I am not doing it anymore is because I just moved to a different state. But I absolutely loved that job, and I felt like it gave me a lot of experience just working with kids and, you know, handling all kinds of situations that might have come up. But that one was definitely probably one of my favorite jobs I have had to date. Okay, something that was difficult in that job would just probably be the, you know, how unpredictable kids in general can be. You know, you never know if they're going to be like super excited and all about the activities, or if they're kind of either more shy or they're just not so sure about it. So that was always, you know, you're walking into an unexpected environment. And you just have to get there and kind of work with, you know, what you have there in front of you. So minus the props and things we would bring. So I think that what was difficult about that job was not really, you know, it didn't look the same every day, and it was kind of hard to know what to expect. But that also kind of made it really fun, and just being able to adapt and get to know all the different groups of people we were working with, and just kind of have fun with the spontaneity of it all. So I actually, in addition to college, I did actually attend a Veda Institute as well to get my aesthetics license. And so, and I was there just recently, and there was a lady that would come in pretty often, and she was kind of known for having more specific requests for the different estheticians. And so it was really challenging because most people just kind of come in, you know, to get a facial, and they just kind of relax and let you do your thing. But she, you know, knew how she wanted it to be done and wanted certain things to be a certain way. So that can be, you know, that can kind of throw you off a little bit from your normal routine. But I just made sure to, you know, try to really understand and communicate with her what exactly she, you know, wanted from the service and what would make it the best experience for her, and just tried my very best to, you know, accommodate everything that she wanted, and made sure that she just left feeling very relaxed and refreshed and had a really, you know, enjoyable time. Yeah, so something that actually happened kind of recently that I felt was kind of a good situation of, you know, dealing with any sort of emergency situation was we actually had a girl. This also took place at Aveda, and we use steamers, which basically has a glass, you know, canister that's holding boiling water, and it was not hooked on correctly. So while we were all doing different facials, the steamer actually dropped to the floor and shattered, and so the boiling water went everywhere, all over the girl next to me, and so obviously made a loud sound, and the poor girl next to me was just like, oh my gosh, there's boiling water on my feet. So, you know, I just made a point to, you know, just pause and, you know, just let the guest that I had in front of me know, just, you know, if you'll just relax for just one moment, I'm just gonna go check on this and I will be right back. So I just made sure that they were comfortable, and where I was able to stop and just pause for a moment, and then I went over, you know, to my coworker and just helped her as best I could. We got her, you know, out of the room and over to seek some medical assistance, and just quickly got the space cleaned up so that there would not be, you know, any glass on the floor or anything like that, just to make sure the whole environment was safe for everyone when we finished all the facials. And then I went back and, you know, just stayed calm, and was able to, you know, complete the rest of the facial just with a very kind of relaxed mindset, and not let that, you know, defer anyone from having a good experience that day. I would just try to keep in mind that, you know, even if I'm giving the same spiel over and over again, or if I am doing the same, you know, motion or activity over and over again, that I would just want to keep in mind that even though I've done it 100 times that week, that for someone that's, you know, either in the audience or, you know, is right there with me, that it's the first time and maybe the only time for them. And so just keeping that mindset, but also just, you know, making it, you know, fun for myself, and, you know, maybe including the guests in with my spiel and making it different each time by including them, and, where are they from, or something like that, ask them questions, just to keep it, keep it different every time, but also just keeping mainly that mindset that even if realistically I'm having a day where it's just like I've done this 100 times, just keeping that mindset that it doesn't matter, because this is for them, it's for the guests, and it's super special to them, and it might be their first time and you want to make it special. So I think I would just really try to keep that mindset, and then also include them in as much as I could. Yeah, no, I for sure am. And, of course, with Walt Disney World being, there's so many different parks, so many different attractions, so you just kind of never know what you're going to end up with. But absolutely, I'm, rain or shine, I will be there. And as far as like the standing and walking, things like that, I'm very used to being on my feet. Most of my jobs I've had have required me to be on my feet the entire time. So even if the feet might ache a little bit at the end of the day, but if you love what you're doing, I think that absolutely makes it worth it. And it's kind of just part of it. We're hard on our bodies, but it's worth it. Yes, I actually just saw it last night, and it looks like probably the closest one to me is going to be in Atlanta, and I think that one's like September 28th or somewhere right in there. So I do plan on attending that audition. Yeah, absolutely. I think basically all of my previous jobs have had me handling cash in some form or another. And a lot of my jobs I've been either the opener or the closer, so I'm very comfortable with counting cash and handling it back and forth with guests. Yeah, absolutely. One of my former jobs, which I think may have been too far down for me to include on my resume, but I did work for a company in store, but also in their warehouse, which had us lifting a bunch of different boxes, and we were always rearranging the warehouse. So it's hard work, but I definitely feel comfortable doing it. Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So I took swimming lessons for pretty much my entire childhood every summer. And it was a local place that had you complete different skills, and then as the years went on, you could, graduate from it. So I did go all the way through that. I do love being in the water, and I feel very comfortable there. So, although I am not CPR certified, I do feel very comfortable in the water and would definitely be open to that. But I do feel like I have some pretty strong swim skills for the most part. Yes, ma'am, I definitely am. I have had to do quite a bit of cleaning in all of my former jobs, but specifically while I was in aesthetic school, I have probably done more dishes and more laundry than I have ever done in my life. And you just kind of never knew what you were going to get with that. So I feel like at this point, if I can, we do like little foot bath thing for each of our clients, and I have washed many a foot bath bowl. So I feel like I have no, there's just no boundary for me anymore on what is gross. So I'm very comfortable doing any sort of extensive cleaning that I would need to do. Mm-hmm. I would, I know that kids can be really, really shy, especially when all the attention is on them like that, and that can be just really scary for a lot of kids if they're not used to that, and they've got all these people in costumes running around, and or to them they're, you know, they're these real characters, and so I know that can be super intimidating for a child. So I think just kind of easing them into it and letting them decide on different things. So, you know, maybe if they were feeling really hesitant, you could show them like the makeup or the nail polish that you would get it to put on them later, and say like, look at these colors, like which one would you like, you know, and just kind of really let them, you know, kind of be a part of it, and maybe that can help them feel like a little bit more comfortable, and just make it as fun as possible for them. Just because I know with a role, especially like at Bibbidi Bobbidy Boutique, you know, that fairy godmother in training is, you know, is really responsible for kind of being a character all her own, and having lots of fun stories and facts to tell about different characters, you know, while they're doing the hair and makeup, and that requires a lot of multitasking and a lot of imagination. But that is a role in particular that is super, super special to me, and it is like my top dream role, just because it's the most, I feel, relevant as far as like what I will be doing in the beauty industry in the future, but also just because, you know, I since I have my aesthetics license now, I have a pretty good like foundational knowledge about sanitation and like what to do if something out of the ordinary happens with the skin or the hair, and just kind of staying calm in those aspects. And then I was, you know, a makeup artist in a couple of my previous jobs as well. But that role is particularly special to me just because I'm a very relational person, and I think I can do great in group settings, but I especially love anything that just allows me to be one-on-one with someone. And I think that at the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique, it's one of the only roles at Disney where you have like 30, you know, to 45 minutes with one child, and it's up to you to really make that connection and make that special for them, and you know, just be energetic and comforting if they're a little scared about what they're doing. But that is my dream role because it is such a special role and requires a lot of energy, imagination, and just a lot of care for the child that you're with at that time. So that is, yeah, that is my top role. That was not entirely the question that you just asked me, but I just really, really wanted to tell you that. Yeah, so I just had a question about, you know, even though I have graduated college, am I still able to take some of the classes that Disney offers? Okay, awesome. And then my last question for you is just what character trait you think that like Disney wants or needs the most from their employees? Awesome. I really appreciate that feedback. And that's the only questions I have for you tonight. Thank you so much, Andrea, and seriously, thank you for staying awake. I know it is really late Florida time right now, so I really appreciate you staying up late, taking the time to talk to me tonight and consider me for any of these roles. Okay, good. Okay, thanks, Andrea. Bye. So, I just...
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
I just interviewed for the Disney College program. That is a thing. That just happened.